We're sending off February in style in the leap year. I got my snow broom here. I made a nice post about the weather, but it's snowing today. But we are talking about a few things. What do customers actually value in the buying process? And who is the best? What? I got thrown off.
Who?
What
Where?
is the most efficient vehicle? We're going to settle this dispute once and for all. Is it ICE? Is it EV? Is it hybrid? Is it hydrogen? I mean, maybe not once and for all, but for right now.
For at least now. We're going to talk about what it is right now.
I made such a nice post about the weather earlier in the week. Me sitting outside, sun shining, 60 degrees.
Yo,
and this morning,
outside in shorts and short sleeves
right
2
now.
days ago.
Yeah. What's the weather
morning,
for you?
Oh, bro, it was 28 here. So, like,
okay, I don't feel as bad.
This morning, they wanted to go bird watching because they're studying birds in school. And this morning, they've got like hats and gloves and big.
Like, good luck. The birds ain't even out today.
Oh no, they were out today. Like once the birds come to Nashville, like mid-February, they just stay. So we had like a cardinal and a blue jay and a little, like one of the little, house birds or whatever they are.
Chickadees.
Yeah,
little guys.
They were all floating around this morning. So
we haven't seen a single one yet.
I don't even know what birds look like anymore. Basically,
I know they've forgotten. They'll be here. They'll be back in a month. They're making their way up from Nashville.
Right, they're coming up from us. Yeah.
Speaking of things coming up soon, hey, we mentioned it once or twice. ASOTU CON, May 14th through 17th. May 14th through 17th, Baltimore. We have 50 plus speakers. Auto Dealer Association representation, industry partners, music, the whole experience is coming in hot into Baltimore, New York, just south of Baltimore, New York, Baltimore, Maryland, just south of that. A couple other things going on there. Will Guidara, keynote speaker. I don't know. Do we have slides for this stuff? I thought we had slides.
It's going to be so good.
Nathan was like, our producer was like, I have all these slides for ASOTU.
You guys never talk about it. It's magic.
And then now we're talking about it. Here we go. We're going to preview all the slides today. We have Will Guidara,
we're official.
New York Times best-selling author of Unreasonable Hospitality. This book has been catching fire over the last 2 years. And he was just on the Jimmy Fallon show like a couple weeks ago. So we're going to have him live at ASOTU CON. You have to come meet him. You have to read the book. It'll change your life. Ties into one of our stories today. We also, OCAN, Women of Color Automotive Network, is having a breakfast meetup at ASOTU CON on May 15th. If you're a WOCAN member, reach out to the WOCAN people. We have a special code just for you. What else is happening? What's the next slide?
Effective is doing the podcast stage. We're
firing that back up.
Over 20 podcasts that we're scheduling across the couple days there. And we're doing a little bit different. That stage is going to be something that you can not just like innocent bystander, but it will make it a presentation thing where the conversations can be heard throughout the hall.
It's like it's almost like a session stage.
It's basically a session stage. And what I love, I mean, those are the podcasts I literally cannot wait. Every year
I listen to every one.
I listen to every single one, and they are really good. They're some of our best podcasts of the year, to be quite honest.
It's so funny how that works out. You can go actually listen to some of them from last year and the year before. ASOTU CON Sessions, ASOTU CON Sessions. Search it on Apple, Spotify, whatever, and check out a couple of those because they're fantastic podcasts. I think that's all we have to talk about on this bonus year. It's like a bonus episode, right?
Bonus year. We also have a bonus eposode of Auto Collab, so you can search that. There's a whole bunch of bonus today, just all the
Auto Collabs is who John is. Where are we at? John Foley. Put the slide up. Nathan's got all these slides ready, and we talk so fast that we never get to use them. John Foley, founder of Recharged, great story circulating on the internet right now of how the idea for Recharge actually started at the first ASOTU CON.
Oh,
and now it's a reality. He's rocking and rolling. You got to check him out. So check the podcast, Auto Collabs, wherever you get your podcasts. All right, let's talk about some news. These are some fun ones. So you may very well be surprised to hear that the most efficient vehicle you can drive still has an ICE engine in it. Record scratch right there. New EVs still can't beat the efficiency of plug-in hybrid like the Toyota Prius Prime, which came up #1 on the list, outperforming the latest fully electric vehicles in the U.S., holding on to the title spot as the greenest car. Despite the rise in EVs, no one can beat its efficiency thanks to the small size, the lightweight. It's just an efficient vehicle. So this all comes from the GreenerCars report of 2024. You can link to it in the show notes, see the whole list. It leads with a green score. I don't know what comprises this green score, but I trust it. All right, 71 out of 100, assessing emissions from how it's made.
Well, that's the trick. Yes. I think
it's a massive trick.
It goes all the way from how it's made to its life cycle.
Yes.
So it's everything involved in how that vehicle is impacting emissions, from how it's made to how it's delivered to
this is a rational number.
This
is a rational metric. For reference, so it scored 71 out of 100. To compare, the EV Hummer scored 26.
Wah, wah, wah.
So the Mercedes-Benz AMG G63 it was the lowest score at a 20, which you would expect, right? It's a performance vehicle that sounds like a lion trying to get out of a cage, right? But the EV Hummer only scored a 26. While the middle of the list was like Toyota Sienna Hybrid. Hats off to you, Kyle. You got one of those right in the middle. And the Lexus ES300H, which scored a 59. And basically, this study is meant to challenge the assumption that a full EV is actually better for the environment. Those are fighting words for some people right there.
Kind of interesting. The Leaf scores extremely high on that. So that's pretty strong. Also,
there's some gas cars that score ahead of a lot of EVs.
Yeah. I mean, the Mini scores ahead of some EVs. The Hyundai Elantra hybrid is up there. Toyota Camry hybrid, the Toyota Corolla hybrid. I don't know if you can notice kind of a trend. There's a theme to the top 12 list. I feel like everybody in the world has just pinned us as like these, like, I don't know, like Toyota pays us off or something. That's not the case.
But that would be great.
Hey, if you're from Toyota and you want to pay us, we'll talk about you more.
No, they're like, why do we need to pay them? Right? If I'm Toyota, I'm like, no, just keep doing what you're doing, boys. Hats off to you.
Do. Yeah.
So
I think it's a really cool study. It's great.
Yeah, and it's a rational study, and I think it just falls and drops at the right time when everyone is kind of like, it's this EV pause moment where everyone's saying like, hold on a minute, what are we actually doing here?
Right.
Who are we actually helping? What's the actual purpose of doing this stuff? Is it rational? Do the consumers want it? And this is just like another important texture to that conversation. Speaking of important textures, the conversations. This is a good segue. You and I know a couple of dealers that are a little passionate about this one. A recent survey reveals the dealership experience significantly influences car buyers, boosting their confidence. Yes, the building, like in the building, boosting their confidence in the purchase decisions and impacting their vehicle choice. So ChangeUp's surveys found that 84% of car buyers felt their dealership visit influenced. I like the way they use the word dealership visit, influenced their buying decision, with 90% gaining confidence after or during the visit in their choice based on the experience. This highlights the crucial role in the car buying journey. That's not just transactional, but it's also personal, holistic experience in person. And most surprisingly, this surprised me, millennials and Gen Z shoppers in particular value the dealership visit very highly, with a significant percentage unsure of their choice until visiting in person. Here's a quote from Lee Carpenter of ChangeUp. Says the dealership is so much more than just a transactional space.
Yeah. It's like she stole the words right out of our mouths. I don't know. She could have just like said it's so much more than cars. She could have done it. She could have done it. But here's what I love about this. And we were talking about this probably early last summer when particularly like malls and shopping centers were noting a higher traffic count, specifically from millennials and Gen Z shoppers. So there's this clear path to those shoppers wanting more of an in-person experience in all of their shopping behavior. This is what's key to this. And I think like we always see this in all of culture, is that the youngest buying power typically influences broader culture. So if millennials and specifically Gen Z are looking for more of that in-person interaction, we're seeing that more across all bands of shoppers. And it's clear, like at post-COVID, there's a recognition that in-person experiences, understanding who the people are that are working with you, that are helping you experience your buying journey, is extremely important to everyone. I actually I had a buddy visit an Apple store last night and was just texting me like, man, you just when you go in there, it's this experience that you actually start to get excited about as you walk in, even just the way they're dressed, the way that everybody presents themselves. And so like that lining up to the way that dealerships craft an experience and acknowledge the fact that people want that, they're not afraid of it, is really cool.
I hope that OEMs lean into this concept, not just in like building a palace, right?
Yep.
That is a brand icon, but really getting intentional about the flow, the way people are treated, like thinking with a hospitality mindset in and out, right? There's so much opportunity to make the dealership experience like the Apple experience or like the best experience. It's so much more visceral than an Apple store experience, right? Because let's get together and look at a little screen, right?
Yep.
Like that's exactly what we're trying to get our kids not to do. But the
Yeah.
dealership, you're visceral. There are cars in the showroom. There's height to the ceiling. There's space. There's food. There's there's all of this stuff. It could be an amazing. Well, it is an amazing experience in some places.
Yeah, I just still think we haven't found the really right retail experience. I haven't seen that
I agree.
come out. A couple of like the highline new EV automakers are trying to kind of do this boutique type thing, but I think it actually
that's
goes
not mass
too far.
market.
I think it goes too far. Yeah, but there's somewhere meeting in the middle that just becomes like not a giant shoebox with cars in it. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of them feel like right now. Like we should do better as an industry.
Which is why
I really want to get the team from Praxis on and like figure out that conversation. I've been chatting with them. We're going to get them on a podcast because they're doing some of the most innovative stuff in dealerships across the country.
Yeah. So, Matthew Groden comments on the live stream, except no one is trying to sell me anything at an Apple store. Fair point.
Well,
okay.
I disagree with that statement. I'm going to go ahead and like with the person on the lives, I'm going to say, Matthew, like I actually think everybody there is trained to sell you something. There's one word, except nobody. It feels like nobody is trying to sell me anything.
Oh, that's an interesting nuance.
But the fact that they all have checkout machines on their hip is very clearly
everyone is ready.
Everybody is ready to sell you something right there. Yep.
And we put this in there. You also know exactly what it's going to cost.
Oh, right
just
there.
Just
right
whisper that one. I know it's complicated, guys. I know it's complicated. Yep. But hey, back to the experience.
Matthew said they will sell me something. Well, yes, of course.
But the pressure is different. And so we could just keep going on that topic, but back to the actual experience in the show, the building, the space, really an increase in OEM dealer collaboration on this.
Absolutely.
I think who are the best operators and how can you start to model stores after the best experiences that dealers are giving? And then let's take it another level. Let's go. We're trying to see the full circle. Speaking of things coming full circle in just 24 hours.
Segue
time. Everybody was up in arms yesterday because Wendy's was straight up stirring the pot with its announcement of dynamic menu pricing strategy that could change how we pay for fast food. But there's been a couple clarifications on how they're going to use their new digital menu boards based on some of the blowback from yesterday. So initially, they stated that they were going to test dynamic pricing, potentially adjusting the cost of items like Dave's single based on demand, with a $20 million investment in their new digital menu boards. A bunch of critics, consumers, social media champions came out to express their concerns over the fairness and reception of fluctuating prices, drawing parallels to failed experiments like Coca-Cola's temperature-based pricing and the potential for perceived price gouging. After the backlash, they clarified that they weren't intending to do surge pricing during peak hours, reassuring that customers it's not the goal to have them pay higher prices for when the stores are in more demand or have more traffic, but rather to offer discounts and value during slower times. CEO Kirk Tanner said they're emphasizing a strategy as a move toward modernization, leveraging AI for menu adjustments and promotional offers, aiming to enhance efficiency and customer satisfaction during off-peak hours. So yeah, the one trigger on this was like at one point they refused comment on whether
The
or not
surge
they were gonna
pricing
raise-
question.
Yes, exactly.
They no commented on this. Oh, Michelle quotes jumps in a live stream, says if Wendy's does nothing with this, they succeeded at least in having everyone talk about Wendy's today. That's a good
They're
point.
pretty good
I mean,
at that.
they have to land the plane really well. But I think this points out a very important part of the consumer psyche and what people like and don't like that we in the industry can take some cues for. And granted, like our product market-based pricing is something that is a part of the auto industry and real estate and lots of other things. But it does tell us that consumers are very sensitive to feeling exploited when they have to pay more during certain times and not during other times. So obviously it's a balance beam we have to walk. But I think just learning from this retail little blip on the screen, we realize people are very sensitive to it. They think about it, they talk about it, and they don't forget it.
Nope. But hey, Wendy's gonna Wendy's. You know, they're always gonna make the news.
It's Wendy's. It's Wednesdays. They're good. Great Twitter account, by the way, or X account, Wendy's.
Always.
If you follow it, so much fun. Well, look, we got the extra day in February. You have no excuses. This is just gravy on top of the February month. Go out there, sell some cars, give some great experiences, and love some people more than you love cars. We'll see you here in March.